Today we will begin with Chapter 7, Sleep and Dreams. We will start by going over some terms and definitions. The first one is continuum of consciousness. This is a wide range of being aware, from wide awake to totally unaware and unresponsive. Consciousness has different levels of awareness of one's thoughts and feelings. Continuum of consciousness activities. Controlled processes are activities that require full awareness, alertness, and concentration. It usually interferes with the execution of other activities. For example, driving a car and talking on the phone. And automatic processes are activities that require little awareness, take minimal attention, and do not interfere with the execution of other activities. Example would be eating while reading. Continuum of consciousness experienced is daydreaming, which is an activity that requires a low level of awareness, and it often occurs during automatic processes and involves fantasizing while awake. Altered states are an awareness that is different than normal consciousness. We perceive our internal and external environment in a different way than normal. This can happen through drugs, hypnosis, meditation, or sleep deprivation. Another form of continuum of consciousness experienced is dreaming. Dreaming is a unique state of consciousness in which we are asleep but experience a variety of astonishing visuals, auditory, and tactile images, often connected in strange ways and often in color. Let's take a look at unconscious and implicit memory. In Freud's theory, he believed that when we are faced with very threatening wishes or desires, especially if they are sexual or aggressive, we defend self-esteem by placing these thoughts in the unconscious. We also cannot voluntarily recall unconscious thoughts. Implicit or non-declarative memory is learning without awareness. This occurs in emotional situations or in acquiring habits. Unconscious can result from disease, trauma, or a blow to the head, or general medical anesthesia. It results in total lack of sensory awareness and complete loss of responsiveness to one's environment. Next, we will take a look at biological clocks. Biological clocks are internal timing devices that are genetically set to regulate various physiological responses for different periods of time. An example of this would be a time when a woman can conceive and give birth to a child is between certain years of the lifespan. And then as she moves into middle adult, late adulthood, she moves into it that she won't be able to have children. That would be an example of a biological clock. A circadian rhythm refers to a biological clock that is genetically programmed to regulate physiological responses within a time period of 24 hours. For example, a time to sleep and a time to be awake. According to the National Survey, 16% of adults sleep less than 6 hours. 24% sleep 6 to 6.9 hours. 31% sleep 7 to 7.9 hours. And 26% sleep 8 or more hours. Therefore, the average is 6.9 hours a night. Have you ever asked yourself the question, why do I sleep? There are several theories about this, and the first one we will look at is the repair theory. In repair theory, it is believed that activities during the day deplete key factors in our brain or body that are replenished or repaired by sleep. So primarily it is a restorative process. Adaptive theory is believed that sleep evolved because it prevented early humans and animals from wasting energy and exposing themselves to the dangers of nocturnal predators. So let's take a look at typical dreams. What do people dream about? There are several characteristics. They involve motion. They can take place indoors more often than out. Visual sensations, but rarely sensations of taste, smell, or pain, are in dreams. Dreams seem bizarre, may include flying or falling without injury, and they may be recurrent, dreams of being threatened, pursued, or trying to hide. So what do people dream about? Dreams involve emotions of anxiety or fear rather than joy or happiness. They rarely involve sexual encounters and are almost never about sexual intercourse. Rarely can we control or dream about something that we intend to dream about. Dreams usually have visual imagery and are in color in sighted people. However, blind people from birth dream in tactile, olfactory, or gustatory which means taste, but not visual. Next, we will look at sleep disorders. The first one we will look at is insomnia. This is when there are difficulties in either going to sleep or staying asleep through the night, usually associated with daytime complaints such as fatigue, impairment of concentration, memory difficulty, or a lack of well-being. Here is a list of non-drug treatments for insomnia. You could try going to bed only when sleepy. Put the light out immediately and do not read or watch TV. If you're not asleep in 20 minutes, get out of bed and relax in another room until tired again. Repeat step 4 as often as required. You can set an alarm for the same time each morning and do not nap during the day. Follow program rigidly for several weeks, and this usually can correct and be helpful for the treatment of insomnia. However, if you cannot correct insomnia using natural methods, there are drug treatments. The first one is benzodiazepines. They reduce anxiety, worry, and stress. They're effective in moderate doses and short term for 2 to 4 weeks, and prolonged use in higher doses may lead to dependency. Non-benzodiazepines rapidly are becoming popular. They're fast-acting, and they reduce daytime drowsiness. They have fewer cognitive side effects, and they're less likely to lead to dependency. The next sleep disorder we will look at is sleep apnea. This is when there are repeated periods during sleep when a person stops breathing for 10 seconds or longer. It may repeatedly stop breathing, momentarily awake, and then they resume sleep. This results in insomnia and exhaustion during the day. The next sleep disorder we will look at is narcolepsy. It is a chronic disorder that is marked by excessive sleepiness. There are forms of sleep attacks or short periods of sleep throughout the day. It's accompanied by brief periods of REM sleep and loss of muscle control. And narcolepsy can be triggered by emotional change. Night terrors occur in stage 3 or 4 sleep, which is the delta sleep stage. frightening experiences that often start with a piercing scream. Night terrors are followed by sudden awakening in a fearful state with rapid breathing and increased heart rate, and they usually have no memory of the experience in the morning. Nightmares occur during REM sleep. They can be very frightening and anxiety-producing images. They involve great danger at times, and upon awakening, the person can describe a nightmare in great detail. Sleepwalking occurs in stage 3 or 4 of delta sleep. Getting up and walking while literally sound asleep, but you have poor coordination. You can be clumsy, but you can avoid objects at times, and you can engage in limited conversation. However, you have no memory of sleepwalking. Next, we will look at theories of dream interpretation. Freud's theory of dream interpretation is that we have a sensor that protects us from realizing threatening and unconscious desires or wishes, especially those involving sex or aggression. This sensor protects us from threatening thoughts by transforming our secret, guilt-ridden, and anxiety-provoking desires into harmless symbols that appear in our dreams and do not disturb our sleep or conscious thoughts. Next, we'll look at the extensions of waking life theory. In this theory, it is believed that dreams reflect the same thoughts, fears, and concerns, problems, and emotions that we have when we're awake. Activation synthesis theory is about dreaming that occurs because the brain areas that provide reasoned cognitive control during the waking state are shut down. The sleeping brain is stimulated by different chemicals and neural influence that result in hallucinations, delusions, high emotions, and bizarre thought patterns that we call dreams. Let's look at the stages of sleep. There are distinctive changes in the electrical activity of the brain and the accompanying physiological responses of the brain that occur as you pass through different phases of sleep. The first stage of sleep is the alpha stage. This is when there is a feeling of being relaxed and drowsy, usually with the eyes closed. The next stage is the non-REM sleep stage. This is where you spend approximately 80% of your sleep time. It is divided into 4 stages. It's identified by a particular pattern of brain waves and physiological responses. You begin with stage 1 and you gradually enter stages 2, 3, and 4. Stage 1 in sleep is a stage lasting 1 to 7 minutes in which the individual gradually loses responsiveness to stimuli and experiences drifting thoughts and images. This stage marks the transition from wakefulness to sleep and is characterized by the presence of theta waves, which are lower in amplitude and frequency, 4 to 7 cycles per second, than alpha waves. Stage 2 in sleep is the stage that marks the beginning of what we know as sleep. Individuals awaken during stage 2 report having been asleep. EEG tracings show high-frequency bursts of brain activity called sleep spindles. Stage 3 and 4 last about 30 to 45 minutes after drifting off to sleep. We pass rigidly through stage 3 and enter stage 4, a stage characterized by delta waves, which have very high amplitude and very low frequency. Stage 4 is often considered the deepest stage of sleep because it is the most difficult for which to be awakened. During stage 4, heart rate, respiration, temperature, and blood flow to the brain are reduced, and there is a marked secretion of growth hormone, which controls many aspects of metabolism, physical growth, and brain development. This stage is also called slow wave or delta sleep. REM sleep, which means rapid eye movement, is the stage of sleep in which our eyes move rapidly back and forth behind closed eyelids. This stage makes up 20% of our sleep time in a normal night. We experience 5 or 6 periods of REM sleep. Each one lasts 15 to 45 minutes. REM brain waves, which have a high frequency and a low amplitude, look very similar to the beta waves that are recorded when we are wide awake and alert. The body's voluntary muscles, however, are paralyzed. Dreams usually occur during REM sleep.